The breaking point. The Galactic Assembly Hall loomed over Captain Ilara Reyes like a magnificent jewel, crystalline spires piercing the violet sky of Nexus Prime, seat of interstellar governance for over 10,000 years. Ilara straightened her uniform, Earth Defense Force insignia, gleaming under the triple suns. 200 years since first contact, and humans were still treated like curious children at the adults' table. Captain Rice, the Primarch will see you now, announced a hovering protocol droid, its voice melodic but emotionless. Ilara nodded, striding forward with the confident gait that had earned her command of the EDF flagship Defiant. At 35, she was the youngest captain in Earth's modest fleet, known for unorthodox tactics that compensated for humanity's technological disadvantages. The Primarch's chamber held representatives from the Galactic Council's senior species, the crystalline Ardani, the gaseous Valdari, and the insectoid Mizari, all species that had achieved space travel millennia before humans had invented the wheel. Captain Rice, Primarch Zephyr of the Ardani, spoke, his crystalline body refracting light in dazzling patterns. We've reviewed your petition for advanced shield technology. Unfortunately, the Council cannot approve technology transfers beyond Category 3 for nascent species. Ilara fought to maintain her composure. Primarch, the attacks on our outer colonies have increased threefold. We lost New Seattle last month. 16,000 civilians. The current defenses provided under our protectorate status are proving insufficient. Perhaps humans should consider withdrawing from dangerous frontier regions, suggested Councillor Vex of the Valdari, her gaseous form swirling with dismissive patterns. Species at your development stage often overextend. Those colonies are vital to our resource needs, Ilara countered, and the attacks began after we established them with Council approval. The Mezari representative chittered softly. The Xorvash incursions are unfortunate, but the technological restrictions exist for good reason. Remember Sector 19? Everyone in the chamber tensed. Sector 19, where the Brenneri had acquired advanced weapons before they were ready, subsequently annihilating themselves and two neighboring systems in a catastrophic war. We're not the Brenneri, Ilara said firmly. Humanity has shown remarkable restraint despite our circumstances. Indeed, the Primarch nodded, and we appreciate Earth's cooperation with galactic protocols. However, the decision stands. Your species must develop naturally through the established technological tiers. Ilara knew further argument was pointless. After formal pleasantries, she exited the chamber, hands clenched at her sides. Outside, her first officer, Commander Takai, waited anxiously. Another rejection, he asked, reading her expression. Same story. We're too young, too impulsive, must develop naturally. She mimicked the Primarch's formal tones. Meanwhile, the Xorvash will hit New Mumbai next, according to intelligence. As they walked toward the transit hub, Ilara's secure comm device vibrated. The message was from Admiral Chen, her direct superior. Return immediately. Priority Alpha. The trip back to Earth took 3 days via Jump Gate, the one piece of advanced technology humanity had been granted access to, though they weren't permitted to understand its principles or construct their own. Admiral Chen met Ilara personally when she docked at Luna Command. His typically stoic face was grim. New Mumbai? Ilara asked immediately. Worse, the Xorvash bypassed New Mumbai completely. They hit Earth directly, a small strike force, targeted attack on Geneva Research Division. Ilara felt her blood run cold. Casualties. 17 scientists dead. Dr. Isamu Wong among them. Isamu? Ilara whispered. The brilliant physicist had been her mentor at the academy before turning to classified research. How did they penetrate Earth's defensive grid? That's just it, Chen said, lowering his voice despite the secure location. They knew exactly where our blind spots were. This wasn't random. Follow me. In his office, Chen activated security protocols beyond anything Ilara had seen before. The room sealed, quantum scramblers engage. "What I'm about to show you doesn't leave this room," he said, placing a data crystal on his desk. A holographic display materialized, intercepted communications between the Torvesh and someone else. The language pattern. Ilara studied the translation. "That's Ardeni syntax." Chen nodded grimly. "Specifically from the Primarch's personal advisory board. We've suspected for some time that the Council's technology restrictions went beyond mere caution. This confirms it. They're deliberately keeping us vulnerable." Ilara realized, the pieces falling into place. But why orchestrate attacks against us? Dr. Wang's team was on the verge of a breakthrough. A new form of energy manipulation that could have revolutionized our defensive capabilities, developed entirely within our allowed technological parameters. Chen played another recording. Security footage from Geneva moments before the attack. Dr. Wang frantically copying data as alarms blared. He managed to transmit this before they killed him. Chen said, displaying complex equations and schematics. His final message: "They lie to us. About everything." "What did he mean?" Ilara asked. "We don't know exactly, but his research suggests the technological tiers the Council enforces aren't based on natural development at all. They're artificial constraints, designed to keep younger species dependent and controlled." Ilara paced the room, mind racing. The Council claims they've guided 100 species to galactic maturity this way. Yet humanity has progressed through the technological tiers faster than any species in recorded history, Chen pointed out. That's made certain elements nervous. So they're culling us before we become a threat, Ilara concluded, using the Torvash as proxies. Chen nodded. We intercepted another transmission. New Mumbai is still a target, but not the end goal. They're planning something bigger, a decisive strike to, as they put it, reset human development to manageable levels. Ilara felt sick. They're going to attack Earth directly. A major strike. The Council will offer aid afterward, Chen said bitterly, helping us rebuild while implementing even tighter restrictions, for our own protection, of course. We need to warn the government, evacuate population centers. The Security Council has been briefed, Chen interrupted. But we have another option. He hesitated. Captain, what I'm about to propose borders on treason against the Galactic Council. With respect, Admiral, they forfeited our allegiance when they conspired to massacre our people. Chen smiled grimly. Dr. Wang wasn't just developing defensive technology. His team had theorized a way to reverse engineer jump gate technology, something explicitly forbidden by Council law. That's why they targeted him specifically, Ilara realized. Yes, and they almost succeeded in destroying his research. Almost. Chen tapped the data crystal. With these fragments, we might be able to complete his work, but we need more data from inside a jump gate control hub. Understanding dawned on Ilara. You want me to infiltrate a Council facility. The Defiant is scheduled for routine maintenance at Nexus Prime next week. The central jump gate hub is there. Your ship could carry the specialized sensors needed to gather the required data. If we're caught, it's not just my career. It's an interstellar incident, possibly war. If we do nothing, millions die when they strike Earth, Chen countered. The President has authorized this mission on condition of complete deniability. Your official orders will show routine patrol duties. Ilara thought of Izamu, of the families on New Seattle, of children on Earth who had no idea their lives hung in the balance of a rigged cosmic game. When do we leave? The Defiant cruised through the darkness of space, its sleek hull bearing the scars of previous engagements. On the bridge, Ilara reviewed the mission parameters with her executive team, the only crew members aware of their true purpose. The data collection needs to be undetectable, Commander Takai emphasized. The sensors Dr. Liu designed will passively absorb quantum echoes from the jump gate's core processes. Dr. Sophia Liu, Wang's former assistant, and now the lead scientist for the mission, nodded. We need approximately 6 hours in proximity to the central hub. The maintenance bay gives us perfect positioning. Security will be tight, warned Security Chief Ortega. Nexus Prime doesn't just house the Council. It's the most heavily defended facility in the galaxy. Which is why we'll hide in plain sight, Ilara explained. A human vessel undergoing routine maintenance is beneath their notice. As the Defiant approached Nexus Prime 2 days later, Ilara couldn't help but admire the massive space station that served as the galaxy's capital. A marvel of engineering, with the enormous jump gate at its heart enabling travel across vast interstellar distances. Council patrol vessels scanned them, then cleared them for approach. Standard procedure, nothing to indicate they suspected anything. The maintenance dock engulfed the Defiant automated systems connecting to the ship's exterior access ports. Perfect cover for deploying Dr. Liu's specialized sensors. Begin passive scanning, Ilara ordered. Chief Ortega, maintain security protocols. I want to know if anyone so much as looks at us funny. The hours crawled by. Ilara maintained communications with Nexus Control, reporting routine maintenance updates, while Dr. Liu's sensors quietly gathered the forbidden data. 5 hours in, Chief Ortega stiffened at his station. Captain, we have movement. Ardani security vessels changing patrol patterns. Directed toward us, Ilara asked, tension tightening her shoulders. Not yet, but they're sweeping the maintenance sector systematically. Dr. Liu looked up from her console. We need another 40 minutes for complete data acquisition. We may not have 40 minutes, Takai muttered. Ilara made a quick decision. Chief, initiate a controlled power fluctuation in our secondary systems. Make it look like maintenance complications. Captain, if we're having technical issues, it gives us reason to extend our stay without raising suspicion. The plan worked initially. Nexus Control accepted their report of technical difficulties, but as the 40 minutes neared completion, Chief Ortega reported again. Captain, incoming transmission. Ardani High Security. They're requesting permission to board for a routine inspection. Ilara exchanged glances with her officers. There was nothing routine about an Ardani security inspection during maintenance. Dr. Liu, she questioned quietly. 30 more seconds, the scientist whispered, eyes fixed on her console. 20, 10. Data acquisition complete. Inform the Ardani. We welcome their inspection, Ilara ordered, then switched to the ship-wide comm. All hands, security inspection protocols. This is not a drill. As the Defiance crew scrambled to prepare for inspection, Dr. Liu discreetly transferred the gathered data to specially shielded quantum storage devices designed to evade detection. The Ardani inspection team arrived moments later, 4 crystalline beings escorted by security drones. Their leader, Commander Vextai, regarded Ilara with faceted eyes that revealed nothing. Captain Reyes, unusual to experience system malfunctions during routine maintenance. Not so unusual for human vessels, Commander, Ilara replied with calculated self-deprecation. Our technology integration with Council standards still has occasional hiccups. Indeed, the Ardani gestured to his team. We'll need to inspect your core systems to ensure compliance with safety protocols. For the next 2 hours, the Ardani team methodically examined the Defiant, while Ilara and her crew maintained a careful facade of cooperation. The shielded data remained undetected, but the inspection leader seemed increasingly suspicious of their modified sensor array. These modifications, Vextai finally said, indicating the sensors, they don't appear in your registered ship schematics. Recent upgrades, Ilara explained smoothly. The paperwork is probably still processing through Council bureaucracy. The Ardani commander studied her with unreadable crystalline features. You should know, Captain, that the Council takes technological compliance very seriously, especially from developing species. Of course, Commander. Earth values its place in the galactic community. After what seemed like an eternity, the inspection team departed. Only when they were gone did Ilara allow herself a deep breath. They know something, Takai murmured beside her. But they can't prove anything, Ilara replied. Prepare for immediate departure as soon as maintenance completes. Best behavior until we clear Nexus space. 4 hours later, the Defiant finally disengaged from the maintenance dock and began its journey home. They were halfway to the system's edge when the sensors blared a warning. Multiple vessels approaching, Chief Ortega reported. Ardeni security cruisers, moving to intercept. On the view screen, 5 crystalline ships took formation directly in their path. Incoming transmission, Takai announced. The image of Commander Vex T appeared. Captain Rice, your vessel has been detected engaging in unauthorized data collection. Power down and prepare to be boarded. Ilara felt the weight of her crew's eyes upon her. This was the moment of truth. Commander, she responded calmly. We've completed authorized maintenance and are returning to Earth space. We have no knowledge of any unauthorized activities. Sensors don't lie, Captain. You have 1 minute to comply before we take action. Ilara muted the transmission and turned to her officers. Options. We can't outrun them, Takai said. And we can't outgun 5 Ardeni cruisers. What we have in that data could save Earth, Dr. Liu reminded them. Ilara nodded, making her decision. Prepare the emergency jump coordinates Dr. Wong provided. Everyone to secure stations. Captain, Takai objected. Those coordinates are theoretical. No human vessel has attempted an unsanctioned jump. Then we'll be the first, Ilara responded, taking her command seat. The Council has already shown their hand. They won't let us return with this data. As the crew prepared, Ilara reopened communications with the Ardeni commander. We respectfully decline, Commander. The Defiant is a sovereign vessel of Earth. This is your final warning. Now, Ilara ordered. The Defiant lurched as its engines engaged at full power, not toward the Ardeni vessels, but at an angle that seemed to make no sense, until the ship's modified systems activated a sequence that should have been impossible for human technology. Space itself seemed to tear open before them, a makeshift jump point, unstable and flickering. But there. Hold on, Ilara shouted as the Defiant plunged into the rift, leaving the stunned Ardeni vessels behind. Light and darkness, time and space blended into a maelstrom of cosmic energy as the ship trembled violently around them. Warning alarms blared from every station. Then, with a final shudder, they emerged, far from Nexus Prime, far from the pursuing Ardeni. Damage report, Ilara called out, steadying herself as the ship stabilized. Multiple systems damaged but functional, Takai reported, amazement in his voice. We actually did it. An unsanctioned jump. Where are we? Ilara asked. Dr. Liu checked the navigation systems, exactly where Dr. Wong's calculations predicted, just outside Earth's solar system. The data, Ilara asked. Intact, Liu confirmed. And it confirms our worst fears. The jump gate technology, it's not just being withheld from us. It's being used to monitor and control all connected species. Ilara stood, looking at the view screen where Earth's sun glimmered as a distant star. Set course for home. Maximum speed. Earth needs to prepare. For what, Captain? Takai asked quietly. For the moment when the galaxy realizes they pushed humanity too far, Ilara replied, her expression hardening with resolve. And what happens next will shock everyone. Defiance beyond measure. The United Earth Defense Council chamber fell silent as Captain Ilara Rice concluded her briefing. 50 of humanity's top military and scientific leaders sat stunned by the revelations from Nexus Prime. The holographic display showed Dr. Wong's completed research combined with the stolen jump gate data. So the Galactic Council has been systematically suppressing our development, Admiral Chen summarized, breaking the silence. And now they're preparing to reset us with a devastating attack. President Kamara, a tall woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that had witnessed humanity's struggles since first contact, stood slowly. Captain Rice, your actions at Nexus Prime constitute a breach of our treaty with the Council. Under normal circumstances, you would face court-martial. Ilara stood at attention, ready to accept the consequences. However, the president continued, "These are not normal circumstances. The council's betrayal changes everything." She turned to the gathered leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen, as of this moment, Earth is at war, not of our choosing, but for our survival." "Madam President," General Santos interjected, "we're outmatched technologically and numerically. The Ardeni alone could obliterate our defenses." "Perhaps," Dr. Liu spoke up from beside Ilara, "but they've never faced humans who aren't playing by their rules." She stepped forward, activating another holographic display. Dr. Wong didn't just decode jump gate technology. He found something they've been hiding from all younger species. The display showed complex equations and energy patterns. "The laws of physics, as taught to us by the Council, are deliberately incomplete," Liu explained. "They've been withholding fundamental principles that would allow for technologies beyond their tiered system." "How long until you can implement these principles into working technology?" the president asked. Liu exchanged glances with the other scientists present. "Normally years, but we don't have years." "You have 3 weeks," President Chimera stated firmly. "Our intelligence suggests that's when the Corvish fleet will be in position for their main assault." "3 weeks is impossible," began one scientist. "Make it possible." The president cut him off. "Humanity's existence depends on it." As the meeting adjourned, Ilara found herself appointed to a new position, special liaison between the military and scientific teams, reporting directly to Admiral Chen and the president. Her knowledge of both the Council's true capabilities and Dr. Wong's research made her uniquely qualified. "We need a secure facility," Liu told Ilara as they left the chamber. "Somewhere the Council wouldn't think to look." "I have an idea," Ilara replied. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, in a classified facility built inside the ocean floor itself, Project Phoenix took shape. The location provided natural shielding against detection, while the pressure and isolation discouraged casual surveillance. Scientists worked around the clock, sleeping in shifts. Military personnel trained on simulations based on the new understanding of physics. Engineers reconfigured existing technologies according to principles that, weeks ago, they would have considered impossible. Ilara moved between departments, coordinating efforts and providing insights from her first-hand experiences with Council technology. On the 12th day, Dr. Liu summoned her to the main laboratory. "We've done it," the scientist said, exhaustion evident in her voice but triumph in her eyes. She gestured to what looked like a modified engine core, the prototype inversion drive. "It works?" Ilara asked, circling the device skeptically. "In simulations, perfectly. It exploits the principles the Council has been hiding, what Dr. Wong called the resonance effect. Energy doesn't just convert or transfer. It can invert, creating reactions that appear to violate conventional physics." "When can we test it?" "Tomorrow. We've retrofitted a destroyer with the prototype. If it works, we can begin upgrading the entire fleet." The test exceeded all expectations. The retrofitted destroyer, Audacity, demonstrated capabilities that would have been classified as Category 7 technology by Council standards, far beyond humanity's authorized Category 3. "The inversion drive doesn't just make us faster," Admiral Chen explained to President Chimera during a secure briefing. "It changes how our ships interact with space-time itself. Conventional weapons will have difficulty targeting us, and our own weapons become exponentially more effective." "Can we outfit enough ships before the attack?" the president asked. "No," Ilara answered honestly. "We can upgrade perhaps 20 vessels to full capacity, but Dr. Liu has developed a modified version that can be rapidly installed on our remaining fleet. Less effective, but still a significant improvement." "What about ground defenses? Civilian protection?" "That's where Project Shield comes in," Liu said, displaying another set of schematics. "Using similar principles, we can create energy fields around major population centers. Not invulnerable, but enough to withstand initial bombardment while our fleet engages." President Chimera studied the plans. The Council will know we've broken their technology restrictions as soon as we deploy these systems. With respect, Madam President, Ilara said, they're already planning to decimate our population. I don't think we need to worry about violating their rules at this point. The President's expression hardened. You're right, Captain. Commence full deployment. And may God help us all. As the 3-week mark approached, humanity's transformation was remarkable. Major cities now had shimmering energy shields stretching over them, while the retrofitted fleet took position in a defensive formation around Earth. Smaller inversion drives had been adapted for orbital platforms, creating a web of advanced defensive positions. The first sign of the coming attack was a complete shutdown of all Council-provided communication systems and jump gates. Earth was cut off from its colonies and the wider galaxy, isolated for the slaughter. In the command center beneath Geneva, Ilara stood with Earth's leadership watching the long-range sensors. They showed what the Council never expected humans to detect: a massive fleet emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Not just Thorbash, Admiral Chen noted grimly. Those are Ardani vessels as well. And Valdery. The entire Council is participating. So much for their policy of non-interference with developing worlds, Ilara remarked bitterly. They're transmitting, announced a communications officer. The familiar crystalline form of Primarch Zethar appeared on the main screen. People of Earth, your species has been deemed a destabilizing influence on galactic order. Despite our guidance, you have pursued unauthorized technologies and violated Council directives. For the safety of all civilized species, we must intervene. President Chimera stepped forward. You mean you've decided to exterminate us because we're developing too quickly for your comfort? The Primarch's crystalline features showed no emotion, a regrettable but necessary correction. Submit now, and we will ensure 10% of your population survives to rebuild under proper supervision. Humanity does not submit, the President replied. Not to tyrants, not to bullies, and certainly not to those who betray their own principles. Then you leave us no choice, the Primarch concluded. May your species' end be remembered as a lesson to others who might consider defiance. The transmission ended. Moments later, the enemy fleet began accelerating toward Earth. All units to battle stations, Admiral Chen ordered. Execute Operation Phoenix. The human fleet, significantly smaller than the approaching Armada, moved into position. The Defiant, now upgraded with a full inversion drive, and commanded by Ilara, took the lead position. All ships reporting ready, Captain, Commander Takai announced from Tactical. Ilara studied the enemy formation on her display. The Council forces were arranged in a standard approach vector, confident in their overwhelming superiority. They hadn't bothered with evasive patterns or defensive formations. Why would they, against primitive humans? Transmit final confirmation for Protocol Omega, Ilara ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations activated, another of Dr. Wang's insights brought to life. Jump gate technology, repurposed and distributed strategically. Enemy fleet entering optimal range in 30 seconds, Takai reported. Hold positions, Ilara commanded. Let them come to us. The enemy opened fire first, powerful energy weapons streaking toward Earth's defenders. But instead of the easy targets they expected, the human vessels shimmed with an iridescent field as the inversion drives activated. Most of the energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against the fields. Those that penetrated caused minimal damage. They're recalibrating weapons, Takai noted, adjusting for the unexpected defense. Now, Ilara ordered. Execute Phase 1. The human fleet suddenly accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible for Category 3 technology. The formation split into precise attack groups, targeting specific sections of the much larger enemy fleet. On the enemy flagship, Primarch Zethar watched in growing alarm as the primitive human vessels executed maneuvers that should have been beyond their capabilities. Impossible, he muttered. They've somehow acquired advanced drive technology. Not just advanced, his tactical officer reported urgently. Unknown. Our sensors can't lock onto their energy signatures. They're using principles we've never encountered. The first wave of human attacks struck the Xorvash contingent. Weapons powered by the inversion drive didn't just damage the enemy vessels, they disrupted the very fabric of their construction, causing cascading failures throughout their systems. Analysis. The Primarch demanded as the first Xorvash destroyer disintegrated. It appears to be. It can't be. The science officer stammered. They're using resonance principles. That's theoretical. The Primarch objected. No developing species has ever. The humans have, interrupted his second-in-command. And they've weaponized it. Despite their technological leap, humanity remained outnumbered. The Council forces adjusted their approach, bringing specialized weapons to bear. Several human ships took critical damage as the battle intensified. Aboard the Defiant, Ilara received reports from across the engagement zone. We've inflicted significant damage, but their numbers are telling. Takai summarized. Earth's shields are holding, but weakening under concentrated fire. Time to show them our full hand. Ilara decided. Activate Protocol Omega. Throughout the solar system, the hidden installations synchronized. Space itself seemed to ripple as dozens of artificial jump points opened simultaneously, not as exit points, but as gravity well generators, creating a complex web of spatial distortions. Enemy vessels suddenly found themselves pulled off course, their formation disrupted. Some were drawn inexorably toward these artificial singularities, their engines insufficient to resist the pull. Now, Ilara ordered, all ships execute final attack pattern. The human fleet converged on the disoriented enemy, targeting command vessels with precision strikes. The Defiant led a squadron directly toward the Ardani flagship. They're attempting to retreat, Takai reported with disbelief. The Volari contingent is breaking formation. On the view screen, Ilara watched as the once mighty Council Armada fell into disarray. Ships collided as they tried to navigate the spatial distortions. Others were disabled by precise human attacks targeting their now exposed vulnerabilities. Target the Ardani flagship, Ilara commanded. Weapons at full power. The Defiant closed on the crystalline vessel that housed Primarch Zethar, but instead of firing, Ilara opened communications. Primarch, she addressed the stunned alien leader. You came to correct humanity today. Instead, you've witnessed what happens when you push us too far. This is impossible, the Primarch responded, his crystalline features showing emotion for the first time. Fear. The technologies you're employing violate fundamental physical principles. No, Ilara corrected. They violate the principles you taught us, the lies you used to keep us controlled. Dr. Wong discovered the truth before you had him killed. You don't understand the consequences. We understand perfectly, Ilara interrupted. Your council has maintained power by keeping younger species ignorant and dependent. That ends today. Around them, the battle had turned decisively. The Council fleet, unprepared for both the advanced human technology and the spatial distortion grid, was in full retreat where they could still maneuver. You have a choice, Primarch, Ilara continued. Unconditional surrender, or we continue this demonstration of humanity's ingenuity. For a tense moment, there was silence. Then, with visible reluctance, the Primarch responded. We surrender. 3 months later, Ilara stood in the rebuilt Galactic Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime. The chamber had been reconfigured. No longer did the senior species occupy privileged positions. Representatives from all spacefaring civilizations, regardless of technological tier, sat as equals. President Chimera addressed the gathered delegates. The revelation of the Council's systematic suppression of technological development has shaken the foundations of galactic society. But from this crisis comes opportunity to build a truly equitable interstellar community. The former Council species had been stripped of their governing authority. In their place, a new democratic galactic alliance had formed, with humanity playing a central role despite its relative youth among the stars. Our technological breakthrough has been shared with all species, the president continued. No longer will artificial constraints limit our collective potential. After the assembly, Ilara walked the crystalline promenades of Nexus Prime with Dr. Liu, watching ships from dozens of species utilizing the newly understood resonance physics. They still fear us, you know, Liu commented, nodding toward a group of Ardani diplomats who gave them a wide berth. The species that accomplished in weeks what they couldn't conceive in millennia. They should, Ilara replied. Not because we seek dominance, but because we've proven that determination can overcome any obstacle. What do you think Dr. Wong would say if he could see this? Liu asked softly. Ilara gazed upward, where Earth ships now traveled freely through the jump gate network, no longer dependent on council permission. I think he'd say that pushing humanity too far was the galaxy's biggest mistake and its greatest opportunity. In the distance, a newly constructed monument stood, a memorial to those lost in humanity's struggle for true independence. Inscribed at its base were words that had become a guiding principle for the new galactic order. Never underestimate a species that evolved on a world trying to kill them daily. For when truly threatened, they will achieve the impossible and redefine what's possible for everyone. The galaxy had pushed humanity too far, never expecting what would come next. Their shock had given way to a new reality, one where humanity's potential would never again be artificially constrained, and where the stars themselves were no longer beyond reach. As evening fell on Nexus Prime, lights from 1,000 worlds twinkled in the artificial sky. Among them shone Earth, no longer a primitive outpost on the galactic frontier, but a beacon of innovation and determination that had forever changed the course of interstellar civilization. Where to next, Captain? Liu asked as they turned toward the spaceport where the Defiant awaited. Ilara smiled, looking up at the countless stars above them, each one now truly within humanity's reach. Everywhere,